These are very good. First ever over-ears, what the hell, Nothing. Okay, these are the new Nothing over-ear headphones, aptly named Nothing Headphone 1. Design and mechanics wise, the closest thing to AirPods Max you can get on Android or basically anything that's outside Apple's ecosystem. Not sound-wise though, but I will get to that. Just a simple look tells you that these are more than just about the sound. All of these tactile controls that Nothing has put around the Headphone 1 kind of feel like Apple but different. Like this roller, it controls volume with a rolling motion and play pause when you press it in, like the AirPods digital crown, but a different type of motion. The paddle here is for next song and previous song, but what's cool is that if you hold on it, it works as fast forward or reverse in supported apps. This is an actual on-off switch and I like that it's a mechanical toggle. It's not a push and hold type of digital thing, and it's not a leave your headphones always on design. The button on the side here calls up your voice assistant by default, but you can set it up to do a few different things like cycle through EQ profiles or spatial audio simulation. Also, they do have a 3.5mm jack to use with a cable, but they still need to be switched on. These cannot be passive. So, the design of these is definitely going to be an acquired taste. I can see it, right? They kind of look like a prototype of a model that has not yet been launched. You may jive with this slightly geeky look. Personally, I'm not wowed. I would have liked it if there wasn't a rectangle case around them and they were just that transparent part over here. Made bigger, of course. But I get it. Nothing likes to go for new and crazy stuff and challenge the common standards. So I can respect that. It's not like Apple's AirPods Max design was beloved by everybody when they launched. But the build feels very good. The memory foam cushions are soft and cushy. The clamping action of the headband is a bit harder than I would like. For example, the AirPods Max again, maybe heavier in general, but their pressure on your ears is just the right amount to keep them on your head without feeling a squeeze. Still, the frame of the Nothing Headphone 1 feels premium and has this stepless length adjustment which feels great. I hope it's robust and lasts long. That's what Nothing promises here. Now let's talk sound quality and all the doodads you can do in the app. I am generally pretty happy with how the Nothing Headphone 1 sound. They are very mid-forward and mostly clear, so you can hear a lot of what's going on in your music. You can even hear compression issues in mastered songs. Their highs go to the border of being scratchy and kind of stop there, so at first you think, oh, these are gonna sound annoying in a bit, but they stop short of that. They don't have a very high-end sizzle or sweet presence or headroom that other headphones have, so they're lacking a bit in that department. The mids are very pronounced. Again, they go just to the point where they may start sounding boxy or floppy and stop there. Well, granted, it depends on the song here. Some old Iron Maiden tracks, for example, do sound extremely MIDI through these. In general, you can hear a lot of detail and music from the mid-range instruments, but you will reach for the EQ and scoop them for some songs. Or just leave it scooped in general, but the EQ has its own quirks and I'll talk about that in a bit. The lows, this is where I have some complaints. So the Nothing Headphone 1 are not bassy or boomy, but still can sound a bit mushy or garbled in the low mid to bass area. You can try to dial it in with the EQ or the adaptive bass enhancement that's in the Nothing X app, but you can't change the drivers and the acoustic space in the headphones, so I couldn't find an ideal solution. The bass sounds a bit chambery, a bit too spacious without actual direction, and doesn't carry a lot of musicality. Especially if you use the artificial bass enhancer within the app, which I suggest you don't do in general for any of the Nothing earphones. Now, compared to the AirPods Max, the pods sound much more balanced. Of course, they don't offer you much in terms of EQing them, they just scan your ears and set their response to what Apple deems to be the best or most balanced sound, which is pretty correct most of the time. They have a nice musical bass, carved but not too scooped mids, and a beautiful, chimey, sizzly high end that's just not on the Nothing headphones. Well, double the price, of course. But you know what's free? Pressing that like button. It helps immensely. So speaking of AirPods comparisons, the Nothing Headphone 1 also have the spatialize feature, which works pretty well. It will take any stereo signal and make it spatial around your head, and even have the same option as the AirPods, where you can have the audio static within the virtual space, as if there's a sound source outside of the headphones that stays in place. I've been told this helps some people who get nausea when the sound is always stuck to left and right inside their head. I found the spatialize feature to work great for YouTube talking head videos like this one, or Guitar Gear videos where the sound source is always close mic'd, so it kind of sounds like it's right up to your ears. So using the spatialize on those videos gives them a lot more of an in-the-room feel, in a good way, and I definitely jive with that. But for listening to music, I turn spatialize off. That also goes for the AirPods. It can just make stuff sound weird, as not a lot of songs are mastered for spatial. Also, the spatialize on the Nothing Headphone 1 does not work with the advanced EQ. Speaking of frequencies, I have been promising to talk about that EQ. Now, the Nothing X app gives you this basic EQ here, where you can set some things up pretty quick, or the advanced 8-band EQ that lets you control band placement and width. This will definitely help you get the most out of the Nothing Headphone 1, but it's a weird working EQ where boosting one frequency doesn't really boost it much. It lowers the volume of all other frequencies, I guess to keep an overall volume balance, but it's definitely very hard to tweak because of that. I wish to reiterate, you cannot change the driver or the acoustic space on the headphones, so even if this EQ looks like it's a lot, it's just fine-tuning at best. Audiophiles know that you buy a set of headphones to enjoy their particular frequency response, and you may try hard to make them sound like something else, but it's often futile or just ruins the product for what it is. With all that said, what is the Nothing Headphone 1? It's a set of mid-forward headphones that can be perceived as sounding articulate or clear, especially with guitar or brass-based music. Their controls are awesome, their fit is definitely up there. Their noise cancellation is, I did not talk about that, very good. The transparency mode is slightly muffled, but also very good. They do support Bluetooth multi-point for 2-device connectivity, so there's some flexibility there, and their price is $300, pounds or euro. So they are kinda half the price of AirPods Max, cheaper than a set of Sony XM6s, about the same price as old Sony XM5. I did a quick test and do think that the Nothing Headphone 1 does sound a bit better than the XM5 in its default state, so for the price they are positioned pretty fairly. If you jive with the design, you should be happy with these. And if you're happy with this video, let me know by dropping a like and a sub, it helps immensely. Thanks, bye!